Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to my friend. He is a professional wrestling referee extraordinaire. He's the one and only Izyk Haze. Izyk, what's going on, my brother?
Everything. Life. It's all good. Everything's been fun. Thank you for wanting to talk to me. As I was saying earlier, like, I don't consider myself desirable to speak to because, who am I really? But I appreciate it.
Hey, you've drawn more money in the business of pro wrestling than I have, for a fact. That makes you my senior. So it's a wild kind of labyrinth to kind of figure out your way in professional wrestling. And then, just to be a fan of it. Sometimes it can be like weird, but then also to say, hey, like, I want to get involved, but I'm also not a worker in the traditional sense of the deal. So you went a very untraditional but traditional route, because when you hear about like the Jim Rosses and what have you, they went the route of becoming a referee. That was the first thing that they did in the business. So you're kind of there.
In a small way, yes. Like, I'm definitely not a worker. I did train with Santino's for refereeing. I came in specifically for that. I was already an old dude when I walked in there, kind of like, fangirling out and puppy dog eyes. They were gracious enough to allow me to be trained by them as a referee. I never trained with them as a wrestler. I did, get smacked around a couple of times here and there. But yeah, referee is how I came in. I'd always wanted to be in wrestling, and I was like, what if I had tried this? And asked the question, and they came, and here we are. Actually, 4 years later, as of yesterday. Yesterday,
Happy
March 1st,
anniversary.
when I started training. But yeah, it's been crazy. This is crazy and fun, and sometimes, nausea-inducing because things get all weird. But yeah, it's been cool. I dig it.
No, absolutely, and we dig you. Also, Lil Diza 408 says, "Looking great, gentlemen." Lil Diza, who just competed in Street Beefs competition, and that's all the rage. Yeah, so shout out to Lil Diza and Paul Perez. Shout out to Paul Perez. He says, like the name, Izyk Haze. But shout out to Paul Perez because he has an incredible interview for the Grand Olympic Auditorium documentary. So you definitely want to check out. You definitely want to check out the main event with Paul Perez and Paul Perez's Instagram and social media pages, because those interviews are there.
And coincidentally enough, my middle name is Paul.
Oh, spoiler! We're shooting here. I love it. And Carl Diamond, a friend to and a good brother to us both, says, "Izyk, love you and love you, Carl." And
hey, I love everybody.
Yes, Carl's amazing, and he's doing amazing things with. Hey, you made your movie podcast as well as the Sandwich Revolver. He was also the behind the scenes technical aficionado of Bumps and Bruises.
Yeah. Oh, that's been a while.
Yes, it has. Everything has been a while. Jesus.
Yeah, Mikey's a trucker now. He's traveling the country in a semi, just hauling things around. He's I guess he was just like, getting an itch to do something different, and he's out there, man, busting his ass. And I love Mikey to death, and it's just good to see him doing his thing.
Yeah, shout out to Mikey as well as Marty Hill of Bumps and
Marty Hill. Oh, yeah. Marty.
Yes, absolutely. And he's like, yeah. I heard. I haven't heard. Oh, but kudos to Mikey in the wide open road. But
yes.
Speaking of wide open roads, you kind of were mentioning about your training at Santino's, but you first wanted to get involved with the pro wrestling industry. But what was it about it that drew you in to the wild world of professional wrestling?
I mean, it's to be honest, I don't remember exactly when I found it. I was around 8 or 9. I know that much, and I think it was. I used to stay with older cousins of mine when I was young. My mom worked. I stayed with my godmother, who was my mom's sister. Um, she had 3 sons, and I grew up with them. And I think there is where I first found wrestling, and it just, it just I just was drawn to it. I was kind of raised by old school WWF and Bugs Bunny, like that. Those two entities of pop culture are what created the person that sits in front of you. And wrestling, I've just always loved wrestling. I was the biggest mark, still I am in certain extents, and I just try to keep it low key. But I would, when I was finally able to go to shows, I would I would go to them all the time, incessantly, and I would be the dork waiting by the fence as they were exiting out from the arena and taking pictures. I'd go to events, find out what hotels they were staying at, and stalk people at the bars. They were a lot cooler about it back then. They weren't like tripped out, which was cool. So I got to meet a lot of people before, you know, way before I even stepped in, and so yeah, it's just been my entire life has had wrestling involved in it in
So
some
I
way, shape, or form.
So I too am a bit of a nerd when it comes to all things pro wrestling. So I want to know, what were some of those venues? Because for me, I know when we lived in Bakersfield, my wife and kids and I were living in Bakersfield. It was the the Rabobank Arena, because right next door was the Bakersfield Marriott. So if you knew what time checkout was at the Marriott on a TV taping, you basically were able to see a litany of superstars. I even met Vince McMahon, which is so weird
Oh,
to think about, you know.
I met
But
Shane. I've met Shane before. I never met Vince, but yeah, that's cool.
yeah. So
And
what was the
here,
venue?
that was actually in Anaheim at the Anaheim Convention Center. It was one of those WrestleMania Access gimmicks. But like I used to go to the LA Sports Arena, more specifically the Arrowhead Pond. I refuse to call it the Honda Center. We'll call it the Ponda Center. But that was my spot, because honestly, I really don't like Los Angeles. Sorry, it's not one of my favorite cities at all. It's totally overrated and just gross. So Anaheim, Orange County has been like my that's my home uh, for wrestling, and so I'd go to the pond. So there'd be the Anaheim Marriott and all the other little places that they'd stay, and they'd just be hanging out at the bar, and I'd go in there and just just talk. They were all cool. I had this. Oh, I was just thinking about this the other day because I was watching one of the Undertaker things on the network, um, or not Undertaker things, but the APA thing,
Yes.
and and I just remember running into Ron Simmons at a bar and having a great conversation with him, and he was very sociable and very. I mean, it was probably because they were drinking, but they were very accommodating to marks just walking up on them in a bar. Undertaker was actually sitting off in a dark corner by himself at a booth with the sunglasses on inside the bar. And I just looked over at him, gave him a nod. He, checked his head back, and I left it at that. It's like, so I met the Undertaker from about 10 feet away. And I wasn't that type who would, I would gingerly make my way towards somebody, and I wouldn't force my fandom on them so hard. But in Anaheim, all the little hotels around there, here and there, waiting outside the pond, and just stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I used to do all the time.
I love it. I mean, I did same. I did same, but it was only like Bakersfield. I think the last time that I kind of did that was, but I actually knew some people within the company. But Survivor Series, 2018, where they had, I think it was a NXT on Saturday, then Sunday was Survivor Series, and then the Monday, Tuesday, also at Staples Center, were the Monday Night Raw and
Yeah.
SmackDown, when they were still taping on Tuesday. So I did two of the shows, and just kind of hanging out at the Westin downtown and whatever. I almost got into the fight with the Usos.
What did you do?
I I was just like, hey, we're from Fiji. So I'm part Fijian. So I was like, hey, you like we're islanders, whatever. And one was amazing. He couldn't have been nicer. And they were fucking 3 sheets to the wind, probably
Oh,
four
okay.
sheets, right? And then one was like, fuck you. And I was just like, oh, I know a good fish hook or whatever. But I was just like, nah. Like I had friends at the bar who worked at the company, and I was just like, nah. And I also met that night. So the Indian of Indian descent, Eastern Indian descent wrestler Daryl Sharma, who's
Oh,
a
okay.
referee in NXT,
Yes.
found out that he actually was born in Toronto, right, the Toronto area, but his family is essentially from Fiji. So we got to
Oh,
be fast friends after the fight with the Usos. So it's just weird, just weird.
um, what was that? That gave me a thought, and I can. Oh, so yeah, I haven't been to any recent uh WWE shows. Like it's been years, and I haven't had any bad experiences. There was a in 1996 they had the Slammy Awards, and Kevin was on his way out, about to make his way to WCW, and I ran into him at the went to his table at the Slammy Awards. They were mingling. They had let the fans, because the fans were in, so that, we were mingling with each other. They allowed us to walk. Um, he was the only one that was kind of like, I don't want to take any pictures right now, and I was like, I get it, but like I was all, I was a huge Shawn Michaels mark, still am to this day. Like I love Shawn Michaels the best, but Diesel, was part of that deal, and I had the little black fingerless gloves that they sold, so I had it, and I was like, oh come on, like I'm wearing your glove, kind of thing, and he was like, fine, like, and he waved me over, and I wish I could find the picture. It's in storage, but it's a picture of me, Diesel sitting at the table, looking at the camera with like a shit look on his face, like I'm tired of this, and I'm standing behind him all nerded out. And I was already in my 20s at that point. So, but that was the bad experience, the only bad experience I've had. And it wasn't bad. He was, he allowed me to do it. He gave in. So that was cool. But I did hear him say at one point that weekend, WrestleMania weekend, I don't get paid by the hour. And like just walking by people and ignoring them in the hotel lobby and stuff. So, I got lucky. I was fortunate that he let me take the picture.
No, 100%, 100%. And Paul Perez says, "What's in a fight? Handle it." I mean, again, so I wasn't drunk, but there were definitely two of him, and one might be his twin brother. I was just like, nah, that might be too rich for my blood. Yeah, and Paul says, my Mexican friends who went to Carson and Banning never mess with Samoan or Fijians because you'll have a fight with the whole family. 100%. Now, I'm floating in LA all alone. I'm not a part of the Anawahi family or what have you, but I have been known to. I'm not the toughest guy in the room, but just saying.
Funny thing, like it was weird. I used to get, I don't want to say I was bullied in school because I wasn't, but there were some kids who would tease me, calling me Samoan like it was a bad thing. I don't know. I don't think I look Samoan, but they made it like a point of an insult, like Samoan, and I was like, all right, whatever. But yeah, that's happened to me. I don't know. People are weird. People in the '80s, kids were weird, and we just stuck it out, and sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. That's how I've always lived my life. So it was just, it was one of those things, but I remember it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned names because Nate Wren of Podium Sports, he says, "Did you get the name from actor composer Izyk
No,
Haze?"
no.
Scientologists do, but
My name is Izyk. Hayes is not my actual last name, so we'll keep that quiet. But I spelled it differently because my dad and I share the same name, so I've been spelling it the way it's spelled there for years already. Hayes, the way it's spelled there, came out from there was a point in time where I worked for Bally Total Fitness in their call center, and we had to go through a course that taught us how to speak to people on the phone and properly address these members with gripes, and try and be nice about it and whatsoever. So we take this little course, and the instructor in that course, like, she knew I liked wrestling and stuff, but she got to liking me pretty well, and for some reason at the end of the class, like she wrote everybody's cards and let them know, like a motivational little note on these cards as we went out into the world of customer service. And she wrote Haze, just real big, just Haze. And then she proceeded to tell me, what she felt about me and this and that. And she was looking at it from the aspect of like college hazing, like being rough. I guess I looked kind of mean. Maybe, I don't know. Some people say that. I don't see it. Some people say I look intimidating. Whatever. I'm the least intimidating guy. But so that and the way I was spelling my first name, I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. And yes, obviously I have the the chef in mind as I'm putting, because you can't not put those two names together and not think of him. But I put it together. It looked cool to me, and so this was about 2003, I want to say. And from that point forward, I was just Izyk Haze in my email, like my email addresses. I would I swooped up a couple of those, and I have those, but yeah, it wasn't directly because of Izyk Haze, but the way it rolls out of your mouth sounds good, and
Yeah.
so I just stuck with that. It's
I,
let's say it's an homage, but not necessarily in support of.
yeah. No, 100%. Well, I like to think because you said that kind of call center manager and trainer thought, I mean, knew that you were a wrestling fan. So in my mind's eye, I want to believe she probably thought you were an RVD fan. So Hayes, there you
Possibly.
go. That's what I'm
She's a
thinking.
really nice lady. Her name was Tina. I don't remember her last name, but she's a person I would definitely like to find out about, like all these years later. I wonder how she's doing. But
Where were they now?
yeah, one of those kind of. And if she can only now see me, I know she'd dig it. Probably she was very supportive of, like, just my personality and like the things that I brought to her class. Mostly humor, because I've always been like the class clown kind of thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. Which, again, anybody that shared a locker room, they will attest to that very fact. Which, it's so you've come a long way from kind of getting a a begrudging picture with Kevin Nash to ending up at Santino. So, like, what was that whole process?
It was a long process, actually. I attempted to break in to wrestling as a wrestler in my mid-20s, and I went to Ultimate Pro Wrestling, which at the time was
UPW.
run
Yeah.
by Rick Bassman.
Uh,
And I went there. I was very timid. I didn't have as much confidence back then as I do now, which it's just a little bit more. But I just went because I found out about it, and I went in and I sat there and I watched for a few sessions, different days, and they never approached me. They never asked me to get out. I just sat there and I watched, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, and and the whole time just like all nervous and wondering, like, is this, like, can I really do this? Can I, whatever. Samoa Joe was there at the time, Frankie Kazarian. I got to see these guys, and they were working out. Tom Howard, uh,
yeah.
who is
The Predator. Yeah.
yeah, a trainer of all those guys there, as well as Zoe Starks in NXT now. But
Really?
yeah, he had a hand in training her, as well as, I think they're married. But
I've heard such things. Yes.
yeah, so it started there. I spoke to Rick Bassman, and he was open to me, coming in, and ultimately, I failed. As excited as I was about wrestling, as much as I wanted to, I didn't have the confidence in myself to think that I could do it. I didn't really have any support either. I was kind of flying on my own,
Wow.
and I just I bitched out. Like, it just straight up, I totally bitched out, and I just then followed it throughout the years. Just kept my eye on pro wrestling, and just kind of slunk off into the corner, like, oh, I didn't even like try it or nothing. And I would go to local shows, mostly EWF,
Yeah.
which was in my neighborhood, close to my neighborhood. They They ran at the Knights of Columbus Hall in Covina. I grew up in La Puente, Baldwin Park, Whittier, all those different cities. So I would go to their shows all the time. Eventually, I asked Jesse if I could just kind of help out, set up the ring at different shows. So I would come early and just help him set up the ring as a fan. And he was real nice to me back then. Everybody was really cool. Met a lot of guys that some I know now. But I did that, and fast forward all these years later. So from like 25 until finally I was 43 when I saw an advertisement for a seminar at Santino's with Marty Elias, WWE referee, Lucha Underground referee, and who I worked with at Bumps and Bruises. But they had a seminar with him there, and I'm gonna go check it out. This was 2017, in February of 2017, and just went to go check it out. I had heard of Santino's. Obviously, I saw on the internet. I was like, oh, this exists, and that's pretty cool. I went to go check it out and listen to him speak. And at the end or during it, I was like, I wonder if I could be a referee. And I spoke to Joey Chaos after the seminar was over, and he's like, we don't really train referees, but shoot me an email and we'll see what we can do. Which was very gracious of him. He could have told me to get the fuck out of there. Like, I don't, I'm not dealing with this. Which he didn't. And fortunately for me, he didn't. And so I eventually went, did just a lot of referee stuff. Like I said, I didn't really do much wrestling stuff. I probably wasn't the greatest student, but I did what I felt was my best. And just fortunately for me, I ended up during the course of that running into Haas, Big Dick Haas.
Wow.
My first, actually, as a student, I was coming to one of their student shows, and I just got kind of thrown in there. Did you bring gear? I'm like, I don't have gear. This is just 2 weeks in, or maybe 3. And they had a show called Luck of the Draw, and it just so happened to have a match with Jesse James versus Haas Hogg. They had just formed as True Grit recently, or within the last 6 months of that date, or something like that. And he just kind of threw me in there. He gave me a ref shirt, put these track pants, gave me these track pants to wear. And so my first ever pro wrestling match was Jesse James versus Haas Hogg. I don't remember much about it other than it was really cool. And met Haas that night, and we kind of clicked, and he needed somebody to drive him to places, I'm assuming. So he kind of drugged me along with him. And I ended up going out to Lucha Extreme in Fresno. I think that might have been my second time out, possibly third. And then he drugged me with him to Fist Combat in San Diego. And it was there at Fist Combat that everything just kind of opened up. I was with Fist Combat for a while. A lot of times they're only referee, and just a lot of experience through Fist with Mikey Gordon. Hats off to him for allowing me to to work out there. I mean, but it just started from there, and then everything that I imagined in my head, all these promotions were out there, AWS and all these different things, and all these places that I thought of in my head where I wanted to go, I eventually ended up at every one of those places. So it just, it just blew up for me. Fortunately, it was just snowballed its way, and I continued to learn and grow and gain experience, and I screwed up a few times, and ultimately it became what it is now. I got to do. I'm assuming we're eventually going to get to it, but I got to do the Bloodsport gimmick with GCW, Josh Barnett. In part, big thanks to Brett Lauderdale and Odie Brown. Odie's been one of my biggest supporters in since I met him, which was at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and he's helped me out a lot. And he was responsible for getting my name to Brett out there a couple of times, and so just from there to here now, and Future Stars of Wrestling, it's been crazy, but I love doing it. I love just getting out there and working. That's all I want to do. And in the beginning, it didn't matter. Anybody needed a ref, I was going to be there. I didn't care what it was. If it was this shit show or whatever, shindies that they like to to throw around there, but
I think Jim Cornette said outlaw mud show. That's what Jim Cornette uses.
I would do those. I'll still do those now. Like I just want to work. Maybe but yeah, it was just it's been incredible. I can't believe it's like 4 years later since all of it started, and I mean you can see it in my face. 4 years ago, this wasn't so gray.
You look 25 now. You look no different than I half expected you to wear the fingerless glove of Diesel. Like you probably look no different.
I look similar, other than the color. Like I don't think my face has changed much. I mean, good or bad, however that pans out. But it's been wild, very wild.
I love it. I love it. Now, speaking of wild, George Hermosa of the Wrestling Shadow says, Izyk, who's my cookie. Don't forget Wrestling Pro Wrestling. Shout out.
Oh yeah, Wrestling Pro Wrestling is my favorite, ultimate, hands down, favorite place to work. It's got wrestling. It's got great wrestling. It's got ridiculous characters in these ridiculous suits that are awesome to work with, awesome to play off of, and be used for whatever little gimmicky spots they want to do. Brian Kendrick is another amazing guy. Like he's just been so gracious and so friendly. And I watched him. Oh my goodness, my dogs are not my yo. Are they bothering? They got neighbor dogs and they got these dogs. They get all excited. So yeah, Brian Kendrick. I met him one time when he was Spanky at Ultimate Pro Wrestling Show.
Wow.
And at this time, I was like, I'd only read stuff, so I'd never seen. And so I was like, oh, you're the Spanky that was like trained by Shawn Michaels. And at the time, he was like, yeah, like it was kind of like he was younger. He was like, yeah, whatever, Mark, like get away from me. And I told him about this years afterwards, and he had a good laugh about it. But he's just now like I love Brian. Like we keep in contact every once in a while, not as much, but here and there. And I still like I'm down for WPW any day of the week.
Well,
I owe George a cookie for an unspecified reason. We won't get into that.
Well, he says. I told you we're not getting scandals, but we're getting into it. Izyk Haze, eighth remnants of Chow Mein Charlie's family.
I was hungry. It smelled so good, and it had already like the cork was already out of the bottle. So I just figured, what the heck? And yeah, it was. I was really hungry that day. I apologize to Chow Mein Charlie, but what can I do? The bell had already been rung. You can't put Pandora back in the box. She only comes out.
Well, at least you didn't go for the what is it? Is it the Parm Horseman, right? Because
the Fromage.
Oh, Fromage Horseman, yes.
Parm Anderson.
Parm Anderson is my favorite. First off, huge fucking Arn Anderson mark, right? But here's the thing.
Oh yeah, who's a huge Arn Anderson mark? Vinny Wasco.
Really?
Vinny Wasco is a huge Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and it shows in his work. Like Vinny Wasco is a great worker, and I've been able to, fortunate to be able to hang out with him quite a few times this past few months. Going to FSW, we travel out there together. But yeah, Brainbuster. Yeah.
Oh, the Brainbuster. Look for the same dude. Brainbuster, Gourdbuster, Spinebuster. That's it. And folks, those are all finishes. Fuck what you talking about. Those are finishes.
Right.
I don't need to see 8. I don't need to see 8 in a match. I don't even need to see 8 in a show. One fucking Spinebuster, Gourdbuster, or Brainbuster, and that's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. But that's just me.
And Vinny Wasco has a great Spinebuster, very reminiscent of Arn Anderson. I would check him out.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to check him out. Well, he's been making quite the waves, not just in Southern California, but all over. NorCal, he's been to FSW, as you mentioned. So doing big things. He's done a litany of extra work with the WWE. So he was on Impact as well. One time we were out there in Vegas, and he got mistaken for Cody Rhodes because he had the little blonde hair at the time. And it was one backstage segment where they mistook him for Cody Rhodes. So, yeah, he's
Vinny Wasco is getting himself out there. And I mean, he deserves to be out there. He's very talented. He's handsome. You know, it's not blonde anymore, but he's got really nice hair. I'm jealous because I have to cut mine like this now, because it's just starting to separate on me here and there. But yeah, he's all over the place too. Wrestling up in NorCal, like you said. I think he's been out to Cactus League Wrestling in Arizona, things like that. He's a good hand. He's a good hand.
No, 100%, 100%. I just think it's absolutely fascinating, right? All the years, from UPW to you entering at Santino's. I mean, now there's a referee's course, right? Now, there's how do they say it? I forget what they mention it, but obviously Adnan Qureshi, Alyssa Marino, the advocates course.
Austin Body. Advocates, yes.
Yes, Halston Body. That's it. But that came after you. I want to say you were almost the protege of this new thing, and then kind of after it, this whole kind of burgeoning of talent emerged from it.
Possibly. I mean, I don't want to give myself any credit. I just went in and tried to do the thing. I think just maybe it's sparked an idea. Possibly, very minute possibility. But Santino's brothers, Joey Chaos, they already know what they're doing. It's it's not like they needed me to help anything. So they busted it out, they ran with it, and yeah, Alyssa Marino, she came out of there. Adnan's on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood as an announcer, and Halston Body as his character. It's a cool thing in there. I think they were doing a second class, which ended up being online because of the situation going on.
Right.
I don't really know how that's panned out, but yeah, it was cool that they came up with that. No other schools did it, and you really didn't have in the current climate, you didn't have a thing for old ass dudes like me to be like, hey, it's typically well, you just get in and you be a wrestler, but I kind of went through the doggy door, and a lot of other people were able to as well. But it was cool. I'm glad they got to do that. I'm glad those people got to Alyssa was at NXT for a minute. That's amazing. But she's great. Just straight out of the gate, she's got the face, she's got the voice, she's got she's just 100, just all the way around.
Yeah, just tremendous people all across the board. And I mean, we've actually seen Alyssa Marino on this very podcast here, along with the aforementioned Odie Brown,
Sweet.
Zebra Talk, hashtag Zebra Talk. So, yeah, man, good friends. Good friends.
Yeah, Odie. And let's not forget Jerry Marcus, because he's very instrumental in what created me, because all I ever wanted to do was to work hard and to catch up to Jerry Marcus, to Odie Brown, to Nick Bonanno, to even Justin Borden and Rick Knox. Those were the guys when I came in that were, everybody, they got used everywhere. Everybody, liked them. Everybody loved working with them. And I didn't want to come in and then be just a throwaway. I wanted to bust my ass, and with those guys' help, all five of those guys, even if it was indirectly, with Rick Knox, it was just watching and him being very gracious to me. He's a very nice guy. Give me a little pointers here and there, but I didn't train under him or anything. Jerry Marcus and Odie and Nick Bonanno were the main drivers behind that, and through them, I got to associate with Justin Borden and Rick Knox, which was cool. At Ground Zero in San Diego, shout out to B-Boy.
Yeah.
I first got to work a show. It was myself, Justin Borden, and Rick Knox. And at that show, I felt wow, I made it, because I'm with these two refs that were, it was so cool. And then of course Marty Elias at Bumps and Bruises. That was my first year in. I got to work at Bumps and Bruises with Marty, just he and I, and that was cool. He opened up to me a lot later on. We became more friendly. That first night, he was, he's Marty Elias, so he didn't come to me. I came to him. That kind of stuff. But yeah, being able to utilize all the knowledge from those guys and just my desire to just want to do the best I could. It's been great.
I absolutely love it. And even the fact that, I mean, 2 weeks out of the gate, 2 weeks into your training, you're already taking, I, I mean, if you're looking at territory, you are getting booked in a different territory, which is, that's, oftentimes in current day standards, you start off, especially with like referees or even pro wrestlers themselves, they start off, on whatever training school. If they had a show, then they would basically get work there, and then it wouldn't be until another couple of months, before they started getting booked out. But you got booked in another territory out of the gate. That was incredible.
That was I mean, that was mainly due to Haas and just True Grit's necessity for a ride, which I was happy to drive with them up there on the road with those guys for the first the first few years was. Or the first few years. It's only 4, so it seems like so much time has elapsed when really it hasn't. But so my time on the road with those guys was like the best. And yeah, up in Fresno, it was Lucha Extreme. Lance Cardoza runs Lucha Extreme, and then I ended up being the only referee that night. They were expecting somebody else, and nobody else showed up, so it was just me, and it was a TV taping, and I to this day I've never seen that. I don't know. And yeah, I ended up just doing it all on my own. And Lance was very generous with the payout. I was like, wow, this is cool. It was like, I think it was like $60. And so, yeah, it was, of course that was all gas because it was Fresno.
Yeah.
But it was better than nothing. And all the experience. I met Lena Gonzalez, the ring announcer there for the first time. She's cool. We keep in touch. We just worked together recently too. But yeah, Lucha Extreme, that was wild. There was also, I can't remember, because Santino's ran a show at the Poppy Festival in Lancaster, and I can't remember where that fell, but like those were my first 3 things: the Haas Jesse match, Lancaster show, and Lucha Extreme. My rings.
Still, I mean, when you're looking at LA traffic, that's a good 2-hour plus trip, and anyone like General LA to Bell Gardens to Lancaster, that can be a 45-minute to 2-hour trip.
6 to Fresno, I think it was.
6 to Fresno, yeah. And again, I mean, for every hour you got paid essentially $10 an hour.
If you want to look at it that way, sure.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's better than a soda and a hot dog.
Yeah, true. And shout out to Ford, because I had bought a car in 2015, a 2016 Ford Fusion, and so that car has been with me throughout all these road trips and did me solid. Has done me solid. So thanks, Ford.
Yeah, thanks. And again, they're doing some. There's been a lot of things happening, the Teslas and the Neos, and to buy shares. But I heard something on the YouTube that Ford shares, you might want to scoop up a couple of those if you got a little bit of coin, because
wait. YouTube? You can't watch YouTube videos. Everybody knows that's ridiculous. You can't learn anything from YouTube videos. Oh my god!
I always tell people, short of being a cardiothoracic surgeon, everything else you can pretty much kind of figure out, your way to the dance via YouTube. So
there's a lot of information out there, and YouTube's a good source of information for lots of things. It's not this playground that a lot of people like to insult it as. If you ever reference anything from there or like try to share something with somebody, everybody wants, oh, you're a YouTube scientist or YouTube whatever. It's like, yeah, YouTube is great. You can learn how to cook things there. You can learn a lot about the world if you're not closed-minded by watching some YouTube stuff. There's a lot of good seminars on there. It's good stuff. Like YouTube has been a savior.
No, 100%. I mean, this very podcast is being streamed to YouTube. I mean, we're on YouTube.
See how useful YouTube is? You can catch. Actually, we did some tapings for Daily Wrestling, which is a promoter out of the UK. Put together this tournament called Match Madness. You can see those one a day for the month of March. I was involved in that, and the first match was yesterday. I had Sean Davari versus AJZ, and so it's on YouTube. I don't know exactly what time. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it's easy to find. Daily Red
Matchmania. Yeah,
match
Matchmania.
match madness. Sorry,
Oh, Match
match madness,
Madness.
like March Madness.
Yeah, I like it. The play on words, fucking clever, clever. Oh no, the UK scene in terms of like their wrestling and what they're doing with it, especially during the pandemic, had Marley Spartan and the Owens sisters from like Eve, Pro Wrestling Eve, and Progress and everything on.
Yeah.
I want to say last week, but Eve Wright Girls of Wrestling, they literally do like a 24-hour stream almost
Wow.
like at least once a week, and it's all female, all Joshi wrestling. Like there's some Miko Satomura on there, there's some Tony Storm on there, and whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, and Dan has been so kind when they're on the podcast. Like he chimes in, and I'm like, okay, cool, because I literally watch your shit. Like, yeah, and you're chiming in. That's cool, bro. I like it.
No. Like wrestling is I don't really watch much wrestling as as like I used to. I used to like live and die by recording everything and watching everything. Lately, everything for me is in ring, where I prefer to be. But like I'll watch some. If somebody brings something up to me, I'll check it out. But mostly it's NXT. I keep an eye on NXT a lot more than other things. But yeah, I'll definitely I'll definitely look into stuff like that because wrestling's cool. I just don't always have time.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Now, speaking of times, right? We can't like leave and not talk about. And you mentioned it earlier, but to me, it's my favorite professional wrestling organization, and that is one Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. And Josh has been so kind to send people on that card my way. So shout out to the War Master. I mean, I literally have his action figure somewhere here, and it's weird. Like I know that guy, but I also have his action figure, so it's
cool. Yeah. Like I've got like with Bloodsport, I got to officiate the match between John Moxley and the British Bulldog, and at that same Slammies where look at that, all my stuff's in storage. That was cool. So yeah, I got to do that match, and at that same Slammy Awards that Kevin Nash begrudgingly allowed me the picture, I met Davey Boy Smith, and I got to take a picture with Davey Boy Smith and his wife. Like she stepped in on the picture together. So there's a picture of us in my storage as well, of Davey Boy Smith and his wife, and I got to work with his son, which was like, I mean, it was just amazing to come full circle. I was a huge British Bulldogs fan when I was a kid, and those are the guys who I used to emulate when we were, fooling around with my friends and, on the front yard pretending to wrestle and stuff. So that was really a really cool thing about Bloodsport. Those are arguably the two biggest names I've stepped into the ring with, aside from Karrion Kross, who's another, fantastic talent that I was blessed.
Human being, that guy.
That too, yes. This guy is just, I can be feeling like, so down and stuff, and just in my head about different things, which, most of us get that way. Sometimes we'll get stuck in our head about a certain idea or something bothering us. And I'll open up Instagram. Karrion's Instagram story will inevitably have a post. He posts a lot of things called Vibe of the Day and just like inspirational things. But specifically when I'm feeling like just dirt, something will pop up that he posts, and it's like it was meant there for me. And it's just like, man, thanks. Thanks, Karrion.
Yeah.
It's amazing guy. I love watching him. That's the one. He's, no offense to anybody else. I have a lot of people that I know I've worked with that are in NXT, but Karrion Kross is the main driver from my continued like willingness to like, okay, I'm gonna catch this, I'm gonna record it, and I'm gonna make sure I watch it, even if he's not on the show. Like I'll record it just because. And I get to see, Jake Atlas wrestle there. Now Zoe Stark, Shotzi Blackheart, people that I've been in the ring with that I could just like, wow. And there's still like that, the degree of separation to where I'm watching and not necessarily thinking, wow, I've been in the ring with that person, just watching and admiring from, where they are now from where they came. And it's just it's a trip, dude. Like like I can't believe this. It's a trip.
No, it is. But I mean, also the
But
work
sorry.
the work that you've put into it too, though. To get that kind of reciprocation. And I've seen some of those posts from Carry On, and some he'll tag people like indie talent that he's worked with, and referees and everything like, and all of the thousands, if not millions, of followers that he has, and to kind of just like bring the fans and the friends from the indies, like
Right.
it
Yeah.
just shows you the guy that he is.
Yes. Exactly that. Like he's not leaving anybody behind. And he interacts with people, the fans, even like, on my posts. Like he has no reason to comment on my post, with a positive comment or anything. But, he's just that good of a guy that when he has time to interact, he definitely does so. And then you see him taking all his awesome trips. It's just like, wow, he's just got so much. He's just got so much about him. And he's a very admirable guy.
I love
For
it.
sure.
I absolutely love it. Now, going back to Bloodsport, right? Because this, like, I'm equally scared. Like, this is like my whole love for everything combat sports, right? Like I've done a little jiu-jitsu, right? But I love MMA. I fucking don't completely understand it. Like why people would bash each other in the fucking face and everything, but I do. Or wrestling with slams and what have you, right? And in Bloodsport, there's a particular set. There's only two rules, like pins, submissions. I'm not even pins, submissions
Right.
and
Oh, yeah.
knockouts. Yeah,
Submission.
submissions and knockouts. I'm sorry, right? Those are the two things, right? And it had to be so much different than what you normally do, because when people talk about pro wrestling, referees, they basically go like this: 1, 2, 3. That's what they remember a professional wrestling referee for. So
Or
this
breaking
was
breaking holds. Yeah, like
right. So
separating.
this is a particular instance where you're not doing pull aparts because they're going full throttle, right? You're not doing
Yes.
1, 2, 3 because again, listen to the audio. Those palm strikes. Oh God!
Oh,
It's
sure. Oh, for sure. I mean the guys that I got to stand next to and watch beat each other, like it was yeah. Like I didn't have to slide down every time somebody's shoulders went to the ground. It was easy though. Like I was able to keep myself out of that realm of wanting to be in on everything. Um, there were specific instructions we were given because I had never done one before. So, Josh, I went over it with him, asked what he wanted, and there were specific things he wanted, and so I just did what he asked, and it was different and it was exciting, and it was hard hitting. Some of those, oh man, they get caught with
all of
something, or
those.
the big a big suplex like Jeff Cobb just throws people around like it's nobody's business. Um, even with Moxley and Bulldog, Moxley ended up bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Bulldog was, kind of loopy after that DDT that he took, and oh man, yeah, that was some heavy stuff. Tito, bad dude Tito,
Bad dude Tito.
Super
Fuck,
Beast,
God.
like Cal Jack, like all these guys. I don't mean to miss anybody's names. It's just there were so many guys that I got to step into. Simon Gotch, like just these guys
So
just know.
underrated.
These guys just know how to beat you up, and I'm glad that I can be friendly with them rather than on that other side. Like I'm not an MMA guy either. I grew up fighting like normal in the street, and I don't know how capable I am nowadays, but those guys will knock you the hell out.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that's a different mindset of like, again, you're theoretically speaking, your training kind of tips the hat of counting 1, 2, 3, breaking it apart. That the 10 in the corner or and there's no ropes. You can't do that. There's no breaks.
If they went outside, we were to count. I believe I counted and one match for some, but they don't like hang around on the outside. It's not wrestling, It's like maybe take a little breather and they jump back in, what have you. But yeah, it was a definitely different experience, and I enjoyed it. I hope at some point I get to do it again. GCW, Josh Barnett, I'm available. Just but yeah, very great experience. I'm glad I was able to. Very glad I was able to have that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you talked about like lingering in the ring or outside of the ring rather.
Mhm.
That Bloodsport 4, Cal Jack literally checking Nolan Edward.
Yes,
That was the
that
KO. He threw him
I was
against the fucking wall. I was
yeah,
like,
and I had actually called it before that. Like it was done, and I think there was like a little miscommunication with the commentary crew, but yeah, that was after he was already done, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like it's just it was wild, and luckily Nolan wasn't badly affected. I think he's good to go, but that was definitely something to see. That was I did not expect that.
oh yeah, he came back. Nolan Edwards came back the very next week for
Oh,
Bloodsport
right,
5.
and
Jeez Louise. And then Cal
yeah,
Jack and Super Beast.
that was see what I mean? Like it's just like you can't even pinpoint which one. They were all just so hard hitting and just great for those shows. Like I haven't, like I said, having not been involved in any of the other ones or haven't even watched them, it was a sight. It was a sight, and I'll definitely do that again.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be paying the money, and not just because. And it's weird to say, but like Josh Barnett's a friend, and you support your friends. But
Yeah,
it's
it was
it, yeah, but it's the shit that I like. It's like again, there's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu competition. Well, I mean Eddie Bravo. Eddie Bravo does his combat jiu-jitsu with it's no-gi jiu-jitsu with open hand slaps, right? And that was like for regular sport jiu-jitsu and then the evolution to MMA, well, that's like the missing link. For me, guess what? Bloodsport is right there with EBI and combat jiu-jitsu because again, you can't slam people on their fucking heads and necks in EBI, but you can in Bloodsport. So
yeah.
just that's the evolution.
And to throw something else out there, Inoki Dojo, Durango, and
Yeah.
Labyrinth, they are promoting April 3rd, a hybrid pancrase wrestling show. And
Yes.
that's another, like, pancrase is similar to Bloodsport. There's a little bit more rules there, but throwing that together, that's another thing I'm looking forward to. Durango and Labyrinto have been great with me as well. Actually, during last year where everything shut down, I actually did. This is the first day that anybody's going to hear this, other than people who were there. But I actually did wrestling training. Finally, like stepped into that actual part and did some stuff out there at the Noki Dojo in LA, and it was great. I got hurt towards the end of last year, concussion wise, but so I hope to eventually make my way back. I'm a little. I just got to get over it. Like it's that whole being a bitch thing again. I just got to get over it. I was able to surpass, the what I was afraid of back when I was 25. But yeah, I definitely have to set my head straight about getting back in there. But yeah, they've been great. That show should be great. I'm looking forward to that on April 3rd, and then I think there's a seminar and a tryout on the following day, April 4th.
Yes.
Basruten.
So let's talk about it. So we've got obviously the Pancrase show, the hybrid pro wrestling show, which Bas Rutten, UFC Hall of Famer and former King of Pancrase himself, much like the aforementioned Josh Barnett, right? But none other than Joe Malenko. Yes, brother of Dean Malenko and Pancrase notable and All Japan notable. They will be doing a seminar in cooperation with Inoki Dojo in conjunction with this April 3rd card. So, man, I am excited. Joe, yeah, I mean, Joe and Boz, I mean, Boz lives in the area, but, Joe is coming from like Florida, he's a Florida boy, and He's coming out. He doesn't do a lot of stuff. He leaves that to his brother Dean, who is backstage producer in AEW and a longtime producer in WWE, one of the greatest technicians that's ever
Oh,
stepped into the wrestling industry. But he leaves it to Dean. So to get Joe kind of back into wrestling after all these years, after the All Japan tours and stuff, this is amazing.
it's definitely exciting. I mean, they had kind of gave me the idea a few months back that this would possibly be coming up. So yeah, I've been like, just mind on that, on the back of my mind, having that ready to. Excuse me, goodness, what's in this water?
It's gas.
Uh,
Gas is in the water. We're in Detroit, is what we're doing. Sorry,
but yeah,
Detroit.
that should be great. I'm looking forward to it. And you know, whatever I can do to get myself in a ring to just work, because that's ultimately all I want to do is work, and we haven't been able to do that much of it in the last year, but fortunately I've been able to do a good deal of it at Future Stars of Wrestling with Bloodsport. I even did a GCW show, Slime Season, in there last was it December? It was December. So I got to shout out to those guys. Like, man, GCW is running crazy, doing their thing, and they're doing it safely. I
Yes,
don't want
yes, they are.
I don't want people throwing shade at anybody. At a Bloodsport, they on-site testing. You at FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling, you've got to have a testing. They want to make sure they got everybody covered and everybody's doing their thing. I personally may not agree with all the hype and ridiculousness surrounding all these things, and whatever. But when it comes to working and respecting people who want to allow me to work their shows, I'm gonna do what's asked to be done. And I would, like I said, nobody should throw any shade on these promoters doing what they need to do to try to survive in this crazy world we live in now, where everything is just like slipped out from under us.
Mm-hmm.
Just pulling the rug out from under everybody. Everybody, loves doing what they do in the wrestling ring. Everybody loves doing what they do in the business, and with the appropriate amounts of precautions taken, everybody should be able to do it. And we're allowed to go to stores and mingle among people. I told you earlier, I work at a grocery store. That's my day job off to the side. Been the entire time. Tons of people in and out of there, regardless of the limits of one or somebody waiting outside to get in once somebody leaves, that kind of deal. We're in the middle of it. Everything's been fine. Unfortunately, some people have not been fine. Sorry for that. But when people are doing things to make sure that people are safe, those who want to participate should be allowed to, because as free human beings in supposedly the freest country in the world, we should be allowed to make our own choices based on how we feel about it, and based on what things we're doing to ensure that we're being responsible. And that's all I've ever advocated for. That's all anybody ever wants when it comes to the shows that they're promoting. But I can tell you firsthand from the ones I've been involved with that I've had to do things that you know I've come out in public saying I'm against. But they do what they need to do, and I'll do what I need to do for them, because it's ultimately you respect the business as it stands, and you just want to do what you can to make everything run perfectly. And it's just we need to get over that fear of, oh, you can't do this, and just let things start to make their way back, because it may not be normal as it was before, but people are going crazy getting stuck at home, and for the majority of people it's been fine. Don't crucify me, but for the majority of people it's been fine, and people just gotta learn to just be a little bit more lax. So don't get on Pancrase with Inoki about things. I saw that pop up for a little while, but yeah, it's been fantastic. Everybody I've worked with has done anything and everything to make sure everything runs smooth. So I'm always down for that.
No, I love it. I love it.
That's what
But speaking of people, no, you're tremendous. I mean, and that's the thing. It's, whatever you want to disclose, and I thank you for doing it, because there's somebody that needs to hear what, and a litany of people that need to hear what you're saying. And it's that's the thing. It's the ability to disagree civilly,
yeah, like
They can do that and be friends and be family and not unfriend people and not whatever.
unblock them or block them. I've had that.
Yeah.
I've had unfriendings and blocks. People don't talk to me. Like it's not affecting me personally. Sorry, anybody out there who happens to be hating me, who might be watching, probably not, because once you announce me on here, they're gonna shut it off. But like just I don't even everything, like even outside, just and I'm going too far. Stop me.
You're good. You're good. I mean,
Like I said,
again, I'm friends with John De La and Andrew Brasina, and those those are friends, right? I'm not gonna say anything, whatever. I've heard people say things about them and get into stuff and whatever. I'm just saying you're my friends. I don't have to agree with all my friends, but that's not the reason why we're friends. I don't have to disagree with everything, like that's.
And even ultimately disagree with somebody to the point where you don't want to talk to them anymore, fine. Don't talk to them anymore. But there's nothing to gain out of being a crass and angry person who is calling for somebody's head.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for that. Like you can disagree and you can have your opinion and say what you want to say. But to be it's like the prevailing narrative is like anybody who doesn't agree with things that hurt my sensitive feelings is dead to me, and I'm gonna make sure they're dead to everybody else. And that's just childish. Childish. Anybody hear me? Childish. Grow up, please. Grow up.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It happens. Now, obviously, in the evolution of Izyk Haze, right? There have been a number of people that have helped and guided your success and your path in not just professional wrestling, but in life. So, Izyk,
Yes.
my brother, let's get some shout outs out of the way.
Ooh, wow. Who can we? Well, there's a lot of Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I know
but,
Joe Rogan, yeah.
Yeah, and Joe Rogan too at times. I don't always agree with Joe Rogan on things, but he brings a lot of information that's valuable to his podcast, and he's got lots of different characters with, they're not all the same opinion. This is not like a what's the word where everything's the same in the narrative's the same in the little bubble. That's what it's like. There's like a bubble of like just the same information. The I can't remember this because they, it's out there, but I'm old. But anyway, like there's just so much information to absorb, and that's the key thing when it comes to learning, just learning in general as you're an adult. Like you take in as much information as possible, then you use the power of discernment to kind of like weed through what's super crazy and what's plausible, and then what's outright just ridiculous. But a lot of people don't take the time to actually do that. A lot of people, I think, suffer from a great deal of insecurity when it comes to how they feel about themselves and how it relates with other people. I don't follow politicians. I don't believe in government. I don't support anybody in politics. I agree with some people on both sides. There's issues that I definitely agree with, but I don't throw all my eggs in one basket on either side. I definitely will never do that. But I can acknowledge that on the right side of things, that there are, there's stuff that people can learn and understand if they would just allow themselves to get past the barriers that they put up on their own. And then there's the things on the left side that people don't want to accept, and there's things there as well that you can, like, if you just took the time to accept somebody else's point of view into your thought process,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe put yourself in their shoes, and see the world through their eyes to a certain extent. We can, I think that's how you get unity, not pushing people away and pointing at them, and you know just demonizing them in any way possible. Like, yes, some people have done things that they shouldn't be doing, and they should have to account for those, for anything that they do that hurts another human being.
Right.
But thoughts and ideas that don't actively hurt somebody directly, or in any way, um, like, take away from their own life and their own, the way they want to live, that should just be allowed. Like, that's what this country is about: free speech for everybody, not just people who agree with you. Free speech protects unpopular speech, because popular speech doesn't need protecting. You have to have that, just that give and take back and forth, to where people can share things without feeling uncomfortable, or not even share things because they just don't want to be known as evil to somebody else, because they care about their friends who are on the opposite side, and they're like, well, I don't want to hurt my friend because I like them, but if I were to let them know how I feel about this, that, or the other thing, then they're not going to like me, and I don't want that. So a lot of people are afraid to just, like, open up. I'm not. I respect each and every damn person that I've met in professional wrestling, and that I've stepped in that ring with, and that I've watched step into that ring. I I have no problems with any of their ideologies, so long as they're not forcing them on me, or arguing with me, or putting me out there as a bad guy. I'm willing to work with, to accept any and everybody, and have my own ideas at the same time, my own thoughts, and I feel that I should be able to share those just as freely without being crucified. And and like I said, it goes both ways. I won't crucify anybody for something that I may not like,
Mm-hmm.
and I just expect the same in kind, because that's how humanity has worked so far. If it's worked, I don't know. Some people would argue that it hasn't, but being able to mingle with people, and just accept them for what they are, that's the ultimate idea behind everything, is like, well, accept me. But it's only right now, it's only one kind of acceptance that some people are looking for. And I just find that sad, disappointing. And I wish people would just, open up a little bit, like loosen your collar, like, relax. It's not, it's not that hard. See, like, you're cool. Like, you get what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in wrestling who understand what I'm saying as well. And that's refreshing. Um, but that's just my feeling on everything. And everybody, shout out to everybody. I can't even, I can I've worked with so many promotions in the last 4 years. So many. Like, I'm blessed. I'm grateful. Every place that has allowed me to step in their ring, every place that has graciously provided me with some money to do what I love to do, what I try to be good at. Uh, I no matter where you sit on any spectrum, I appreciate anything and everything that you've offered me, and given me. All of the promotions, whoever could be watching this, anybody who I've stepped in there with, who I've just encountered, I appreciate everything. And getting along with each other should be just it should be the goal. And it shouldn't be with restrictions. Like, you just get along with people because you want to be a good person, and that's how you make other people good people. Once you reject people and give them negative attention, then you're only going to get that back.
Yeah.
Like, if you hand out all the positivity you can, regardless of if you're uncomfortable, then that's all you're ever going to get back. But if you sit there and stew and just me, I hate everything and I hate this person, that's all your life's going to be. That's all you're going to see. It's the power of intention. Just what your intent is out to the world. That's what that's what you're going to get back to. And I think because I've adopted some of that, that's why I was able to, hit so many of those promotions. Like I said, at least 22. The last time I counted, 22 different promotions, at least. And I just, because I just think as positively as I can all the time, and it's worked to a certain extent. I have some drawbacks in my personality that I'm still dealing with, but ultimately, like, I think about what's best for me as an example for my child. First and foremost, he's 10 years old, so I want to make sure that he's just as open-minded to anything as anybody else or as myself, and just willing to, to love everybody and to give everybody consideration for whatever it is that they happen to be doing in life, and whatever place that they are in the, in the craziness of society. That's my number one goal. He digs that I do this wrestling thing. He's maybe not really a wrestling fan, but he likes going to shows and sitting in the locker room and interacting with people. He's sat in the locker room with Funny Bone, and and he liked it. He digs like dark stuff. So Funny Bone, and his paint and his wildness, like he's okay with stuff like that, and so he enjoys that part more. But like I said, ultimately my goal is to show him, like, the world contains so many different people, and your acceptance of all these people is what makes you a good person, and it will hopefully set him up as an adult to be, much better a lot quicker than I was, because I grew up in a totally different scenario, and it's just, it's wild now that I get to do this to try and, make a little part of me be something that I could have done a little better here and there, throughout life. So love everybody. Like, people like to say that about love, but not a lot of people really understand what that means. And that means love people that you don't like, and not necessarily where you want to hug them and buy them Christmas presents, but just acknowledging that they're human as well. Acknowledge that people just take different paths than you. People make certain mistakes, and people can be forgiven. Some people maybe can't. Some people do some things, and then that's why they end up in jail. But just be good. Be good at accepting of everybody, and thank everybody that you meet on your way. Thank everybody for everything they've given you, no matter who it is, because somebody is always offering you something. Whether it's, whether you can catch it right off the bat or not, there's always something you can attain from an experience with people, just different people. And that's what I am all about generally. And that, and just being as good as I can for the people who allow me to step into their promotions and into that ring.
I absolutely love it. And shout out to your 10-year-old. I've got a 13-year-old that is
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm dying. He's gonna be 13, and just, and he's coming up on 11. 13, I'm just like, oh, what am I like?
Oh,
he was little. He was so little, and he had these big chubby cheeks, and I miss it. And it's yeah. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to it at the same time. Like, I'm very anxious and excited to see the type of man that he eventually, becomes. We're close as it is right now, and I hope to stay just as close with him when he gets older, and to just try and when he was born, I was 36, so every moment from his birth was like, okay, I gotta live until at least, like, I'm comfortable living with. I gotta be 90 in order to, like, enough. He'll be like 60 at that point, or 96. I would have to be 96 for him to be 60. If I could live to 96, that would be great. Just because, the thought of separating myself from him is just too great for me at this point. It's like, oh, I can't be comfortable with it. My grandfather on my mom's side lived to 94, so I think I maybe got a good chance. But yeah, it's all about the impact you make. Even if it's just your own child can impact so many others. And I don't know if I've made any impact on some people. A lot of people dig me, which is cool. I appreciate it. Like, I really dig that people actually care to, like, want to take a picture with me, or people actually care to want to, like, talk to me, and people care to come up to me and say that I do a good job. Like, wow, thanks. It's humbling. I sometimes still feel like I don't deserve it, But ultimately it's a great thing. I've met so many fans in wrestling that just made me feel happy that I do what I do. Just not that I need that, but they're just that part of it that goes into the whole aspect of why I love to do this. And just yeah.
I
Where were we?
absolutely no, man. That's great. I don't care where the fuck we were. That was amazing. That's amazing. And it's funny because like I've got the older kids. Most people say step kids. I say older kids because they're not. I didn't sire them, but shit, I got them on the taxes, so there's that.
Yeah.
But no, but they're tremendous, and just to see like the different, like them as people and how they interpret the world, that is completely different. And then it gives you kind of levity and like what your parents were dealing with me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I grew up. So yeah, I'm old. And when I grew up, there was and it's all based on what the previous generation is learning from their previous generation, like ideas and ways to be passed down. And then there's things you can tweak about that. Like maybe you didn't learn all the right ways to interact from your parents, and then you just like the key is acknowledging that or discovering it first of all, acknowledging it, and then flipping the script and making it different. Stop the cycle of things that maybe weren't so good. And then I think just in general, like so I'm like a big universe guy, like universe and all this stuff. So I think just in general, the shift of energy in the universe is also leading to that in a way. Like a lot of things are coming across people that are opening up their minds to certain things that they never even considered before.
Right.
So that's a good thing. Hopefully it continues to open up and more people get enveloped in that idea of the one consciousness. I believe there's one consciousness in the world. People talk about God and people talk about no God. I believe consciousness is God, and it's throughout all living things.
It's all encompassing. Yeah.
We're all connected. We're all just energy in whatever this is. Like we don't even know. There's no scientist, no doctor, no whatever can figure out what this actually is. We all at best are making just educated guesses, and things change daily. Ideas change. Facts are discovered. At some point we think, oh well, we have the facts all on this, and then no, something else will come out there, and then oh okay, now I have to consider this as a possibility. And wow, the sun was hitting me in the eyes so bad. But yeah, I mean, I didn't know if this was going to be a spiritual thing, but that's how I see my world. I see my world in a spiritual sense, and I just trying to do the best as I can to be the best human being, and hopefully I'll leave this world with that mark being made. If not, at least for wrestling.
Wow, that's crazy because you came into it with a mark, and then you want to go out leaving a mark. So I love it. 10 points. Hashtag 10 points. But obviously, I mean, there's a lot of expounding of philosophies and just the way your life.
Yeah.
I'm honored to know you, my brother.
Thank you.
Proud
Same.
to call you my brother. Like because it's cool, just and it's different kind of walks of life and everything, and just coming together.
We met through bumps and bruises initially.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Okay.
And you were talking about the footage that never came out and whatever. So my interview with the aforementioned Simon Gotch or Simon Grimm, like I did one there with him. That's never come out to see the light of the day. And it's funny because I did like almost a year to the day, almost a year. Oh no, I'm sorry. 2 years to the day of that interview. It came up on my memory. The very next day, 2 years later, it was Simon came on this very podcast to talk about Bloodsport. So,
man, put that out there. We're talking about Karrion Kross and his contribution to just to the world by the things that he shares and the way he lives his life. Simon Gotch is another dude that I like 100% respect to the earth. He's so astute and knowledgeable, and I love hearing him speak. I could sit there with him and just him just
Yeah.
let him talk. And he's turned me on to some books that I gotta check out. You know, we were at Bloodsport. We were chatting for a little bit about things. He gave me an Iggy on some books to check out. I still have to do that. I tried. I've got so many books like in the trunk of my car and my storage. Like so many things I've gone through. Like it's just things are to get to all of them has just been a task. But eventually, but yeah, he's another guy. I mean, if that's still, I'm sure that it's still relevant. He was just in Bloodsport. You could probably still throw that out there. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah,
But
no, 100%. Well, it's
it's
and
really
again,
another
talk about the measure of the person, right?
right.
All he needed to do was an hour, right? So for Bloodsport 3, 90 minutes, right? And up to that point, that was the longest podcast that I've done. And then Bloodsport 4, I want to say it's like 2.5 hours.
Wow, that's cool.
But that's Simon. And again, there are a lot of people that and he does the self-deprecating humor
Yes.
as much as anybody. But I have a technically brilliant Simon Grimm T-shirt. I have a Vaudevillains T-shirt. He is. I mean, and that's another dude who I watch, and it's weird to say I'm a friend, and it's.
Right. Like the last thing he said to me, I saw him in Las Vegas, was "It's always good to see you." And I walked away thinking like, shit, like that's cool as fuck, Like I same with the Vaudevillains. They were an amazing tag team, and I loved, they were when I started watching NXT in the early stages of it, like they were one of my favorites.
Oh
And
yeah.
to step in the ring with him, to just get to know him, to talk to him, I mean, just to joke, like you said, self-deprecating humor. He's funny and he's dry. Like
Yes.
he'll crack a smile when he says it, but most of the time it's just a straight face, and he's just so good. He's just so good, and like conversations with him are some of my favorite. I don't get to see him enough. He actually reminded me that I hadn't seen him for 2 years prior to us seeing at Bloodsport. I was like,
So
wow,
Bumps and Bruises, right? Wasn't it?
yeah. And I was like, wow, that's true,
Yeah.
I've also worked with him at Maverick. He wrestled Karrion Kross at Maverick. But yeah, it had been 2 damn years, and I was like, wow, 2 years too long. Like if I could spend more time with that guy, I definitely would, because he's a fun guy to be around, very very knowledgeable, and he'll put some thoughts in your head that I'm like, oh, okay, like I didn't consider that. Thanks.
Like again, when they get the bad rap, I'm like, you're just looking at the surface of it. Like, well, it's the same thing with you. And you get like the bad. I'm like, you got to go like 10 years deeper to kind of start to understand, and
Right.
then you fucking love them as much as I do. So
Yes, definitely.
yeah. So,
What have we got, by the way? How long have we got? Who do you have next?
No, I mean, we're approaching that first Simon Grimm interview, but obviously Izyk.
I mean, this is fantastic. Like I said, I never had anybody even want to talk to me, so this is cool. I never realized how much. I know I like.
I'm gonna tell everyone about you, and like everyone that like Vegas Bad Boys. They've got a podcast. They do stuff with Joe DeFalco of FSW all the time. So I'm gonna
the DeFalco Files. Oh, FSW Network. Subscribe. All kinds of old content. They've had some great fucking shows out at wrestling with a lot of great talent who's out there now doing their thing in the at the highest level possible. The FSW Network. I'm subscribed. I watch it. The Joe DeFalco Files. Joe's a great dude, man. He's so funny too, and just like I love being out there with Joe. There's just I can't really. There's nobody in wrestling that I have a bad word about. I mean, Joey Chaos. Oh, I was a big fan of Joey Chaos.
Yes, the Rockstar Chaos.
As a matter of fact, this is a cool story. Well, at least for me, anyway. When I worked at Bally Total Fitness, I was there for about a year. And then I kind of got fired for saying the wrong thing to a person on the phone, or after I thought they hung up. So, I got let go, whatever. But I had friends that worked there, and there was a young lady I went back to have lunch with one time. And as I'm walking up, there's a guy sitting on just one of the little in the courtyard, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Joey Chaos, like XPW, Wrestling Society X. I watched wrestling a lot back then.
Yes.
And so, I approached him, and I very gingerly, because I'm always like, I don't want to bother anybody, And at that point, I had an idea of what what wrestlers were like. Some people didn't like to be bothered. Some people were cool. I didn't know. but I approached him and hit him up, and he was the coolest dude ever. And like I said, that was 2000 and about 2004, maybe. But he happened to be there at the time. He said his girlfriend worked in the building. I don't know who that was, but anyway. So yeah, that was 2000, around 2004. And then fast forward all these years later, where I'm realizing, oh, like that's the Santino brothers dojo guy. Like, oh, okay, he runs that. And so when I went to the seminar and I got to walk up to him again, it was just like it's just amazing. Like, and he's a good dude, and they're hard as nails out there. They don't want they don't want any little punk ass bitches.
Yeah.
So just things like just guys like that, like people that I've watched, people that I just admire for their talent, and then interacting with these people is just it's wild. It's wild, Adam. It's wild.
It is. It is. Even us, like, who would have thought, like, whatever, the interviewer guy and the referee and like, but
Right,
we're here. Like,
And at
almost,
first, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, almost all these years later, like 3 years, we've pretty much, our friendship has almost overlapped how long you've been in the business.
Yeah, pretty much. When I was actually friends with Mikey Haze before Bumps and Bruises, outside of wrestling. When I would go to wrestling, like I went to PCW when he was still a part of it,
Yeah.
and we became friends through Facebook, and we had a mutual friend, which is Val Venus.
Yes.
And so we became friends.
Sean.
Yeah, and we became. Yeah, I just said Sean Morley. He's not Val Venus anymore, but we became friends through political discussion. And that was the majority of it. Like, I've always been into that process of making my way in this world, through the politics and the demands of society and whatnot. So, we became friends, and then like, oh, I run this promotion, mate, and yada yada. And so I love wrestling. I went to go check it out, and we've been friends ever since. And when I got the gig at Bumps and Bruises, he actually didn't know it was me. He didn't know I was refereeing because it was the same year. It was 2017. So I had just started in that March. I can't remember when the show was. It was later on in the year.
Yeah.
But I had already been working at Fist with Mikey Gordon. Mikey Gordon was tasked with finding a referee for Bumps and Bruises because he and Mikey are friends. He and Mikey Haas are friends.
Yeah.
So both Mikey's are friends. Mikey Gordon asked me, hey, do you want to do this show? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'll do it. So I went to do it, and I show up, and he's like, what? Why didn't you tell me? I was like, well, I kind of wasn't doing it at the time. And so it was really cool to have all that connect. Like, I knew him before wrestling, and then we ended up working together, and he's just been great to me as well. He's put me on every show he's had, and, has been nothing but great to me. We're still friends now. Like I said, he drives trucks now across the country. A semi, and he's hauling stuff. So I follow him, and I try to support him with my, comments as much as I can, likes and thumbs ups and all this stuff. Great dude. Glad to know him. Everybody, I could just reiterate again, everybody that I've got to experience in wrestling has been great, and I couldn't be more happy than to be associated with each and every person I've ever come across, including.
Oh, likewise, my brother. But,
and your boy, Blake Troop.
True, yes. Oh, the pull apart with him and yes, Papadon. Oh, that's still kind of like heated now.
There's some meat left on that bone, and
especially like Troop is like the commentator for United Wrestling Network's Primetime Live, as well as Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and I hear the great dog Papadon, who again, that's a fun one too, because I remember reading about that dude in high school in the PWI 500, but and we're friends, which is weird, but
Troop's a cool guy.
Troop is amazing, right? But it's crazy. There is a little subtle jab for those who want to check out the United Wrestling Network's Primetime Live on Fight TV, the app, because Blake Troop, it was alluded to that there might have been a history between Blake Troop and Papadon. So that is a little Easter egg in the commentary.
Yeah, and it even makes me like on the comment threads that sometimes things get brought up, and it makes me uncomfortable because like, oh shit, like I don't want to take sides. Like I like both these dudes a lot, you know. And I just happened to be there when that initial where like I just was like nobody asked me to do it. I wasn't. It was like this was all shoot. Like this
Yeah,
happened. I was just like, oh, I think I better maybe get it. And so I did, luckily, because I don't know what would have happened afterwards, but because they were, it was pretty heated, and so yeah, like even now, like it's still got some meat on it, and I mean, who knows where it goes ultimately? I know Blake's training. I mean, and we're still behind on we're still out from having any shows other than the closed set shows like Prime Time. Prime Time looks great, by the way. Like,
Yes, it does.
awesome. But yeah, so like I still get a little nervous when I catch those conversations, and but both guys are awesome. Both guys have been cool as shit to me. So like, I it's weird being in that.
Oh yeah, it's weird. The footage of bumps and bruises and whatever. Who do you think took the footage? Blake and I came together to the show. I didn't fucking know that was gonna happen.
Right.
I just happened to get my fucking phone up at the right time. Like that's just holy shit, you know. I mean,
Yeah, it's
it is
out
what it
there.
is.
So, yeah, things happen in wrestling that sometimes it just it's just organic.
I'm just saying. Which I mean, before we go, James Wheeler wants to know over on YouTube: would you referee NXT or Evolve? Okay.
Yes, there's no doubt. I'd referee anywhere that wants to have me. I'm a little bit on the older side. I hope that doesn't work against me because I know I can move when I'm in the ring. I'm as old as I am. I get my ass around in there. I've been told, and I like to be humble, and I don't think I'm the greatest thing in the world, but I'm damn good, in my opinion, at what effort I put in to make things happen. I hear things from different workers that are praising me to all ends, and I appreciate it. It makes me still feel a little like I kind of like trying to hide.
A little bit.
But ultimately, I agree from a personal standpoint as far as like what I'm proud of to be participating in and what I'm proud to bring. So, if NXT was an option, oh, most definitely. Evolve unfortunately doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
But AEW's out there, MLW, Ring of Honor, like even Impact. Like I had a little taste with Impact. I did a dark match once, which was cool, and did some I did a pull apart with Brian Cage and Johnny Impact. A couple of years ago, which was cool as shit. Also, anybody that would have me, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to make it there. If I gotta dye my hair to look a little younger for you guys, like I'll do that. People tell me not to, but I'll do it. But
who also does that? Oh, your pal, Big Sexy Kevin Nash. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's all gray now, and he looks awesome.
He fucking colors it in. I'm just saying. Oh, autograph signing gear.
He didn't want to do it, but I remember hearing that Vince asked him to, so he's like, "All right, I'll do it." And I'm the same. I'm willing to do what I need to do. I mean, ultimately, everybody's goal is to reach something of the highest level in wrestling, and I'm not going to say that was my goal coming in. My goal was to just finally do it, and to show my son, who at the time was 7, that just like you, because we're try to push on him talents. Like he's an artist. He's very good. Like he's so much better than I was at his age. Like blows me out of the water. But he has that talent, and to show him that what you want, just go for it. Go out and do it. Wrestling is something that I wanted to do forever, and ultimately it didn't work out in terms of the actual wrestling aspect, other than the cool training I got to do. But ultimately, I made my way in. However it came about, whatever I've been through, I'm here and I'm doing these things that I've wanted to do, working with people that have now moved up, working with people who have been in the business for a while. It's amazing. So in terms of when I started goals, like I reached it. like anything I wanted when I first stepped in was like to just be like, I just want to do this, and I want to, have a good time doing it, and achieve something. And I feel I have. Graciously, I have. I'm grateful for everything. I can't say it enough. I'm gonna ad nauseum repeat myself with the graciousness and the the thanks. But now, yes, like ultimately, I like the next goal is higher, and you know, um, you see so many people getting these opportunities. You had Danny and Limelight open the
Yeah.
beginning of the podcast, and he's out at AEW doing his things, and I love Danny Limelight. We worked together a lot. I got to experience a lot watching him do his thing, and I'm happy for him. I'm proud of everybody who's reached that. Levi Shapiro was just on AEW Dark.
Yeah.
Levi's a good fucking dude. I love Levi. Vipress, I dig Vipress. She's been on AEW. I watch these guys. I'll watch it because I know these people. I respect these people. Everything that they've done to get, to make themselves better, to just continue to, to chip at it and continue doing it despite all the stuff going around us right now and everything trying to stop, everything trying to put everything to an end. To just watch them achieve that. That's something that I'm pretty sure they're damn proud of, and I can just admire from afar and be like, yeah, you guys really knocked it. So yes, I want to be on that side too, where somebody can look at me and say, oh, good, I'm glad I'm glad that happened for him. I don't know how many people would, but
I would.
I definitely AW if they somehow catch this, like I know a lot of people you got there. I can come in and try something. Who knows?
Yeah. Why the fuck not? I
But
say good.
in the meantime, though, Future Stars of Wrestling has been great. We're on a little break again right now, but as much as I can get out there, I'll get out there. GCW, if they come out to LA, or if I got to find them somewhere, I'll definitely do that. That's a great place to, to just be there. And just being there is the ultimate in this, in this whole scenario.
100%. Fuck yeah, man. But I mean, you have been amazing to me and so many other folks, not just in pro wrestling, just personally. So I can't thank you enough. But for folks that want a little bit more Izyk Haze, where can they find you, good sir?
Oof. I'm very bad when it comes to the social media thing. I have things. Obviously, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. My Instagram's kind of private because it was my personal Instagram. So there's lots of pictures of my child, like towards the beginning of it, which I was kind of like, the internet's kind of weird. You got some weird people. So I have it private, but like if I know you and you have some content and on your Instagram, I'll allow a follow. I'll follow back, stuff like that. I have a Twitter. Twitter's not really as wrestling based as my other social media stuff. It has me in it, obviously, as as a referee. But I share a lot of things that I come across that are more socially based in terms of just our world. So I mean, more than welcome. Everything is Izyk Haze. I'm Izyk Haze at Instagram, Izyk Haze Facebook. It's Ref Izyk Haze or Izyk Haze. Yeah, Ref Izyk Haze at Twitter, and I've got like TikTok and those other things, but I have them just to watch other people. I don't really post on TikTok. I'm not a TikTok guy. I don't even know what to do, but I've got things going on. I don't really. Odie was somebody who was like, you need to do a little bit more on your social media, and I'm just not really that type. I'm old. Like it takes a lot of effort. I'll just post up pictures and I'll share things that maybe I'm excited about or things that interest me, and that's pretty much it. If you're looking for like groundbreaking, like nonstop posting, that's not me. But I do share things here and there, and I welcome anybody to to join me if you care. I'm there. But that's pretty much it. That's all. That's where you can find me, or at Future Stars of Wrestling on the FSW network app. Bloodsport is still available for viewing. I assume
Bloodsport.watch.
Oh, Bloodsport.watch, correct. And then you've got the Stantino Brothers YouTube page. You can see all kinds of stuff from there. You can see me getting power bombed by Brody King in his match with Ruby Reyes. Yeah, he really that was my first huge like experience, and that was something to look back on. And while it was something maybe I didn't want to happen. I mean, you can't control those things, but yeah, it's a mark of achievement in a certain way. It's been a wild ride. That was one of them, but Santino Brothers is always great to watch. Huh?
Leaves the mark.
Oh sure. Yeah,
my
back. It was on my back, but Santino Brothers always has great content. Joey Chaos has been doing instructional videos. Yeah, definitely would watch those if you just want wrestling and you want to know things and you want to learn and maybe you're working your way towards breaking into it. Definitely that. Bumps and Bruises, they never put anything out, did they?
No, well, the interview they done, which I know Simon was brilliant. I know Simon was brilliant. Maybe I was a dog shit interview 3 years ago. I don't know. Maybe
I doubt it. Who knows? Maverick Wrestling. They've got YouTube. They've got limited things posted up, but they've got some matches that I've been fortunate. And then Odie as well is on that.
Yes.
Brandon Fakara.
Yeah, he's been on here.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's another. I can just we can just open cans of worms all over I don't mean to leave anybody out. I'm not I'm not actively trying to suppress anybody's name. Anybody, I don't have any negative feelings towards anyone. But now that I'm spilling out, Brandon's been great too. He's been an awesome dude to work with. But yeah, any of those things. Rogue Tournament Wrestling, Corey DeMeyer, my buddy Super Panda. I'm involved with them in that series of things. They've got stuff up on YouTube. I think now on the Pluto TV app. I think you can.
Yes,
it's got that. Unfortunately, I never got to work with PCW Ultra. That actually was one of my goals at the beginning of 2020. My goals in 2020. From January 2020 going forward was Future Stars of Wrestling more actively, which ended up happening, thank God. PCW Ultra, and I'm gonna throw this out there. Sorry if it hurts anybody's feelings, but Bar Wrestling was one of the places that I was looking forward to prying my way into in 2020. I actually did get to do one show before everything got taken away, and it was great. Aside from all the negativity surrounding that name now and everything, it was a great experience. It's unfortunate, all these things just had to happen. But life things that the truth doesn't stay hidden forever. Things come out. And again, with all due respect to the intricacies of these things and these subjects that are very sensitive, I don't lay my hat down on either side. I just, things are unfortunate and things definitely shouldn't have happened in a lot of instances. And I just, I'm not the type to throw my axe at any side. I just, people don't like people to be neutral sometimes. You gotta pick a side. I really just keep myself out of that because I'm about what I'm teaching my son in order to interact with the world, and to let him know that he has to damn certain people and certain things is not my it's not my cup of tea. I'm not going to push negativity on him regardless of if there's any deserved negativity. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but some people think that it's deserved. But anyway, so yeah, those were my 3 goals at the beginning of 2020. Knocked out 2 of them, which is cool. Continue to be a part of Future Stars of Wrestling, which is just great. I just sitting at home doing nothing was awful. Inoki Dojo provided me with the ability to actually get in the ring and get smacked around for real and tie it up in some things and do a little bit of my own smacking, but and Future Stars, I couldn't I couldn't appreciate them more in the last year than I already did, and that I will continue to in the the upcoming years, whatever it may be, months, years. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I absolutely love it, man. Thank you for sharing so many stories and philosophies. And I think there's a lot that people can, as people are trying to figure out what to do, try to reconfigure their lives. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, is somebody that, you know, in every instances you were like, oh, this is whatever, or even you yourself were putting boundaries. And as a time where people need to figure things out, you're an example of trying to figure it out and then doing great success, not by anybody else's definition, by your own. Because
right.
a 7-year-old Izyk would be looking at the age that you are now, of all the shit that you've done, and be like, "That's a cool motherfucker." So shout out to you for making yourself
Yeah,
proud.
that's definitely a contrast where like, wow, I don't, you know what, to be honest with you, I don't even know what I would have thought as a kid. Like I can say, oh, I would think I'm cool, but who knows? But yeah, that's just like, it's all based on what's best for me
Mm-hmm.
and my child now. Like with all respect given to everybody in the world, over even at my shoot job where well, I've been in private security industry for 27 years. Did that like ad nauseum. I've done everything. I ended up, in a good position, to where ultimately I ended up being laid off, unfortunately. But then I moved on to because I was involved in wrestling. Instead of sitting on my ass at a desk job, I started working in a grocery store because it's more physical, and it has been. And so, I just do what I can to be the best worker in any situation that I'm placed in. I, um, I never want to leave the impression with anybody that I think I'm hot shit, because I don't, in the sense of like my belonging to the world, but at what I do for myself, I think I'm hot shit. When I work security, I'm a hot shit security guard. Like I know what the hell I'm doing when it comes to any aspect of that, whether it was patrol, whether it was sitting in a booth, any of the little things up to the supervisor things, a hot shit. When it comes to working in the grocery store, I'm working my way up there. It's different, but I customer service wise, when I'm interacting with people, I'm kind of shy and quiet, unbelievably so, I guess, maybe for the most part. But when I interact with people, I know how to interact with people. I'm very, I'm very personable, and I like to get along with people. I like to be nice with people, and I just like to, do what I can if somebody needs something from me. That's not pushing too far.
I
So
fucking love it.
yeah,
Love it.
anything and everything per my like Frank Sinatra says, my way. I'll do things my way in terms of my dedication and my desire and my love for things. But I always, try to work hard at whatever I do, and be the best possible that I can be. And, hopefully it works out for me in every aspect in the long run. It looks good so far, but,
Hell yes, hell yes.
I
Isaac,
flap my
thank.
gum so much.
No, you're fucking tremendous. That's what podcasts are for, to get beyond the social media posts, to kind of get the voice of the person. So, dude, I love you for staying on this long, and
I appreciate this. Like I didn't even think I would be talking so much, but yeah, this is cool.
I would even say that Izyk Haze needs his own podcast, is what I'm saying.
I've
I,
actually I've actually thought about that, because I have a buddy from high school who I was wrestling fans with, and he's like stoked, all the things I show him and the things, and we talk about it here and there. I'm a little bit less of the mark side anymore, so I don't talk about the business the way like
yeah,
wrestling fans do, because in my mind that would be disrespectful. Like
right.
because I know what goes into it. I know like the hard work that people put into it, so I can't criticize anybody. Obviously, I mean, because who the hell am I? So like, but I would like to talk like this is cool. Like I'm comfortable speaking. It would be nice to like, and then not even necessarily just wrestling, just life in general,
Yeah,
just whatever comes up. Like I mean, it's an idea.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
I'm
maybe we
just
can
saying.
maybe we can partner up on something that's different from According to Woods. I
Oh,
don't, I mean,
oh yeah,
I don't
oh
know.
yeah.
But
I mean, all we got is time, so fuck it. I'm with it.
hey,
You
I'm
know.
free.
Yeah, there it is. But Isaac, I can't thank you enough for doing this, and thank you guys for joining us here at According to Woods. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I mean, Isaac, you're subscribed, right?
I was just wondering right now. I think I am. I should be. I subscribe to so many things on YouTube. I can't keep track because I gravitate towards certain things on YouTube that I like. We're talking about with information. I'm more like an. I've been doing this amazement of the world that I live in for a long time. So I'm kind of stuck in in just mind expanding information. But I'll definitely double check that. If I'm not, I will subscribe. But I urge everyone, if you're not, yes, please uh, share me if you'd like. I don't know
Yeah.
anybody who gets it. But yeah, thank you, dude. Like seriously, like when you, like I said, when you hit me up after Bloodsport and asked me for this, like I was just like, oh my god, like okay, like this is cool. I mean, at first I didn't know if it was serious or not, but yeah,
No,
like thank you.
I'm fucking serious. Like, I don't know why people. And that's a weird thing too, because people are like, "You're asking me? Like the fuck? I'm not Joe Rogan. Good lord! Like, I mean, it's weird that people even see me as in that light. I'm like, no, I'm your friend. Let's talk about some shit. Let's hash some shit out, and we'll have fun. I guarantee you'll have fun on this shit.
Oh
And
yeah, this is fun.
yeah, like
And
300 episodes later, since July, everybody's had fun. So 300 people have had fucking fun. So
that's a lot.
that's it. Yeah,
That's
just
a
saying.
lot. And then
Hell yeah, dude.
like just I know this is what you do, so that was the excitement in it. Like, wow, this is cool. Like I can't believe it. So yeah, I appreciate you as much, and um, thank you,
Hell
thank you very much.
yes. And again, thank you guys. We will check you later, but go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods. Follow Isaac because I know I have, and it's good fun. It's fucking great fun. Just expand
Sometimes
your
I'm funny.
capacity. Hell yes, hell yes. And sometimes when I'm not doing 80 million podcasts, I post dumb shit dad memes. That's true. That's all true. It's fucking
Sometimes I'm
true.
funny. Sometimes I'm funny. Sometimes I'm obnoxious. Whatever.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah,
somebody will be
it
into it.
happens. It happens. But again, thank you guys. Thank you, Isaac. And we are out.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang.